Hi everyone, my name is Paridhi and I'm the nutritionist at Protein Chef. Thank you so much for joining the live session. I think we'll wait for another 1 minute for a few more followers to join, and meanwhile the other fellow nutritionists can join us as well. Okay, I think Pooja should be able to join us in a while. Meanwhile, yeah. Hi Pooja.
Hi.
My name is Paridhi and I'm the nutritionist at Protein Chef.
Hello. Yes. It's nice seeing you.
You too, and welcome to this live session. So
Thank you so much.
While others are joining, let me just give you you and definitely know about it, and the other viewers as well, like a brief sense of what Protein Chef is. So it is actually a cooking plant protein which will help you to proteinize your meals or make your meals protein sufficient in less than 5 seconds. So basically, our aim or our goal was to make each meal for you protein rich, and that is for all the health conditions. So whether you're a child or you go to school, or you're an adult, or you're someone elderly, we will actually help you to address your protein requirements and help you meet the protein requirements in less than no time. And that's why we've actually come up with this very unique solution, which is actually a plant protein additive. You can add this as an additive to your atta or your batter, and this can help you ramp up the protein in less than no time. And what is the best part about this protein is it is a protein blend, so it has a greater essential amino acid profile, which is readily absorbable. At the same time, it does not change the taste so much, so it is actually very efficient and can be easily digested while you're actually adding it to your meal. Now, just to inform everyone that the topic that we are going to discuss today is about how to ramp up, or basically how to increase the amount of protein in your regular Indian vegetarian foods, right? Because all of us, many experts time and again have actually emphasized on the importance of having the adequate amount of protein in every meal. But you will also agree with me, protein is the first macronutrient that comes to our mind when you talk about improving our health, when it talks about digestion, or we talk about ramping up our immunity and so on and so forth, because weight loss or muscle building is not the only two functions which protein will get. But do us and do others also realize that 9 out of 10 people in India, according to a study, are not taking the adequate amount of protein in their diet. And one of the, if you're saying something, I think you're not audible.
No, I'm not saying something.
Okay. And you would also agree that a major or a large part of this thing, that why we're not able to meet the requirements, is because a larger part of Indian population is vegetarian. And the first thing that comes to our mind when we talk about protein is a very healthy and a nutritious dose of eggs or poultry, And vegetarians have very little options to experiment with. And that's exactly why we're here to talk about, because you will help our viewers and your viewers to experiment and to explore a lot of vegetarian sources which can help us to increase the protein. And meanwhile, I can also talk about how you can add Protein Chef to your diet in order to ramp up the protein intake, right? So we actually have a series of 7 to 8 webinars wherein we'll be talking everything about protein consumption. How much should we consume? How to increase the intake of protein? What to do, what not to do? And I just told you about what we will be talking about in this typical session. So I think without any further ado, we should start by talking about Indian regular meals. We have very fixed routine or a regimen of eating which has your roti, sabzi and all. But is it protein sufficient? Is it sufficient to meet the amount of protein that you require? So I would like you to start sharing your thoughts on that first.
Yes. So we as Indians, we follow a diet that is majorly heavy on carbohydrates and does not contain many protein-rich sources. Like the major protein source in which we are consuming in our diet is dal. And dal is also not a pure form of protein. So, and there are very few vegetarian options that are available with the population, and people are generally unaware of how they can actually incorporate those sources into their plans. So it's very difficult for us as Indians to have a protein-rich diet, especially for vegetarian people. I'll agree to that.
Yes. So I think what we can do, maybe you can take a few examples from breakfast, like a paratha, some from like a lunch or a dinner, typically, which is the similar kind of meals, roti, sabzi and dal, etc. and a paneer. We give an example. You can talk about what exactly is the amount of protein that they're contributing towards the meal and towards the entire day, and is it sufficient or not?
So let's start with picking basic Indian options. Like for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I'll be telling you some options and what are the protein sources in that, and whether they are sufficient for us or not. So let's start with the breakfast. Breakfast is majorly the meal where we are lacking protein, like majorly in all parts of India. It's not just North India or South India. That is the major meal in which we are missing protein, because the options are basically like paneer parantha or dal parantha, dosa, sambar, idli, chole puri, more in if we talk about northern part of India. And if it's the other sources also, people are consuming things like cereals, like they will be having cornflakes, they'll be having oats. Even if they are going towards a healthier option, they'll be consuming oats. So we hardly have any protein rich options here. Yeah, maybe if someone is having paneer parantha, but that is not every day. So if you're having any other parantha apart from paneer, you're not getting any protein at all. If you're having poha, or if you're having dalia, or for any cereal for that matter, because that is what we as Indians majorly have. So we are not consuming any protein at all, and even if we are consuming, it's really, really less. Like if you're consuming chole puri, so you're consuming, of course, you're consuming some protein through the chole, but then the protein does puri does the other part enough for us. So, and when we come to lunch, so the basic options are roti, sabzi, maybe with dal sometimes, maybe with curd sometimes, or maybe dal chawal. So, like I said in the beginning, so the major source of protein which people are getting in India are lentils, they are dal, they're pulses, but they are not pure sources of protein. They are proteins and carb mixed. So your daily requirements protein are not being able to met by only having this. Then dinner again is this roti, sabzi, dal. Sometimes, only sometimes people will add paneer to it. It's not an everyday regime that people are having protein. So we can typically notice that our two major meals, lunch and dinner, consist of say about 13 to 15 gram of protein, and breakfast options are typically lower and lower on proteins, and meals are majorly a combination of cereal, a little bit of pulse जैसे दाल हो गया, and a vegetable combination, and that is also not for everyone. I see clients majorly लोग या तो दाल के साथ रोटी लेंगे या सब्जी के साथ रोटी लेंगे, ऐसा नहीं, they are combining it correctly, and the entire meal's protein in a day will not be able to meet the given requirements जो एक human body को चाहिए होता है, which is 0.8 gram to 1 gram per kg of their body weight, and will round out to about, मतलब अगर हम ये भी सोचे कि 60 to 70 kg किसी का body weight है, तो 65 to 70 grams of protein we need in an average day. And dal, typically being the main protein source in Indian diet, it is not a good enough source for meeting the daily requirement. It's not enough.
You to just, just to give a number, as you also said, and I just want to reiterate the fact that lunch or dinner, say we are only getting around 13 to 15, which equals up to almost, 30 grams of protein, so 30 to 45 grams of protein, and lunch on top of it will give you another 10 to hardly 10 grams, 8 to 10 grams. So it's not even 45 to 50 grams of protein that we're able to meet, right? And as you very rightly said, that as per the logic of 0.8 to 1 grams of protein per kg body weight, and if we talk about the reference Indian adult male, so it is around 65 grams. So a similar theorem that we also apply here at Protein Chef is, we basically calculate the protein requirements based your lean body mass, right? So if a healthy adult man is 65 kgs, right, and if his fat percentage is anywhere between 20%, so his lean body mass is 52 kg. And for every kg of lean body mass, we require 1.32 grams of protein. So all in all, this will also equal up to 68 grams. So if we divide it equally, at least within 3 meals, so we will have to consume at least 22 to 23 grams of protein. And as we just found out, that a lunch and dinner is having only 23 grams. So every meal that we're consuming is deficit in protein towards our daily requirements by 10 grams. So that's a huge gap. There's a huge protein gap that we have to give. And on top of it, as you just said, that dal is being used as a major source of protein, because we can't incorporate paneer every day. Soy is not being incorporated, and there are a lot of misconceptions with soy, and there's a lot of mishaps and abstainment, but each will typically follow. So, us case maybe, there's a lot of gap. And protein, again, dal, you're not getting all the sources of all the essential amino acids from dal. It's not a complete source as well. So we just, as I was talking about the protein chef, I already talked about the product as well. So हमारा जो एक spoon है, the large spoon of protein chef, basically one small spoon gives you 5.5 grams of protein, which is equal to one egg. So if you're taking 1 tablespoon of protein and just add to your roti or your batter or your chila, etc., which will give you 10 grams. So, to your regular meals, if you're just adding 1 tablespoon of our product, it will help you to meet that gap. So just wanted to kind of, reiterate on the fact. Now, we've talked about what is the requirement of protein, how much we're lacking. But as I just also said, you also said dal is the only thing. First thing I got, so we have to consume dal. People don't know, they're not aware of other sources, but there are still other sources, vegetarian sources typically, which people can incorporate in order to meet the requirements. So can you please kind of, emphasize on those factors? Can you please enlighten us what all are the other vegetarian sources which people can incorporate?
Yes, so there are various other vegetarian protein sources as well. It's just up to people that how they incorporate it and how much they incorporate it. So there are options like paneer, of course, we discussed about it, but then not everyone eats paneer because someone can be lactose intolerant also. So they kind of avoid dairy products altogether. But then tofu is a very good source of protein. Like I myself, whenever I want to incorporate vegetarian sources of protein, I would like to incorporate tofu in my diet, and I really like the taste of it. Then there are beans like kidney beans or black beans. We can have baked beans, rajma हम लोग खाते हैं, उस फॉर्म में हम ऐड कर सकते हैं. Then there are different, you can also add yogurt और कर्ड मे बी इन आवर डाइट. जब भी हमें लग रहा है हम और कुछ नहीं ऐड कर पा रहे हैं, सो मे बी अपने लंच या डिनर में 1 cup ऑफ योगर्ट ऐड कर लिया. और वी कैन ऑल्सो ट्राई दैट एज अ फोर्थ मील, मतलब हम अपनी स्नैकिंग में ये वाले प्रोटीन सोर्सेस ऐड कर ले, ताकि हमारा जो पूरे दिन में नहीं कवर अप हो पा रहा, हम स्नैक के थ्रू भी ऐड कर सके. देन ऑफ कोर्स देयर आर सोय हम किसी भी फॉर्म में ले सकते हैं. देयर आर न्यूट्री चंक्स. Soy comes in chap forms also. Soy comes in nutri form also. आप किसी फॉर्म में ले सकते हैं. There are nuts and seeds also, जो हमारे mixed seeds आते हैं. Different kind of nuts are there. And then of course there are dairy products, milk and cheese. So हमारे को अपनी डाइट में इनको ऐड करने के we have to find sneakily ways that where we can add it. So maybe like I said, if we're having roti sabzi, so one of these things like maybe some lentils, maybe some beans, maybe some soy or tofu or paneer, we are adding them into our meals. Yeah.
Or maybe
and protein chef as well. Yeah. So protein chef is there, like you said. For the vegetarian sources of protein from the foods, this is there. So अब आपने अपनी दाल सब्जी में तो ऐड कर ले, बट अब उसको आप पूरा कैसे कंप्लीट करो? ऑफ कोर्स देन यू कैन ऐड दैट इन योर चपाती एज वेल, और इफ यू आर हैविंग द चीला, बिकॉज देन द कंप्लीट मील विल बिकम प्रोटीन रिच. क्योंकि एक चीज में आप कितना ऐड कर सकते हो, यू कांट ऐड अ लॉट फ्रॉम जस्ट वन सोर्स. एंड देन अगेन लाइक आई सेड, यू कैन हैव इट एज अ स्नैकिंग ऑप्शन एज वेल, like maybe yogurt or some nuts or just a few cheese blocks or something. If you're having a snacks, fruit के ऊपर थोड़ा सा cheese sprinkle करके खा लिया, थोड़े से seeds sprinkle करके खा लिया, just to add some protein into our diet.
Correct. There's also one thing which a lot of people are not aware is about how to make the right combination of protein. So there's one good example is your, cereals and pulses, they should be combined together. So can you just tell us, how and why is it important? Because I am sure a lot of people will not be aware that dal alone is not a complete source of protein. It needs another complementary source in order to enrich its amino acid profile.
Yeah. So because there's so many amino acids, essential and non-essential amino acids, so the essential ones we need to consume it through our diet. Non-essential ones, okay, if you get the basic, the material, the chemistry, it happens and your body can prepare it on its own. But for the non-essential amino acids, your body needs it from an outside source. So it's very important to make the right combinations. So for example, like you said, that pulses should always be combined with some cereals to make it a good combination. Then we should also mix up protein sources, like maybe add curd or cheese or yogurt to your regular roti sabzi meal. Okay, and then we have to include protein in at least 3 out of our 4 meals in the day. Like I said, if it's okay, like if we are agreeing that as Indians we eat paranthas or we eat dosa or anything in a breakfast or poha, and we're not able to change it, that is okay. But if you're able to add it in the other three meals, your lunch, your snacking option, and your dinner, then you're good to go. You are at least increasing it. Increase the protein density of the meals in the sense, like you said, by adding protein chef. So आपका जो protein density in that meal है वो increase हो जाएगा, rather than आप चीजें add करो. Like I said ना, we can, of course we can any day add yogurt, we can add soy, but at one time a person's appetite is limited. You can't add five different things to your meal. You can't add soy, paneer, curd, everything in one go. So how to increase the protein density? We can do that by adding some besan or soya flour in the chapati flour, or an easy way out is to add protein chef in the chapati flour, and you are increasing the protein density. And sneak more protein in your smoothies. Like if you're more of a smoothie person, now summers are coming, so people, like to have something chilled, so you can add some curd into it, you can add some seeds into it to add some protein sneakingly into your the same smoothie bowl or the smoothie glass. So you're adding more proteins without adding the quantity of what you're having. And you can layer your sandwich if you're making a sandwich. So instead of adding mayo or some other sauces, you can make a hung yogurt dip. You can make hummus. You can add a peanut butter dip. Or you can, just add it, or you can just add some pureed paneer in it, and it will give you the creamy texture as well. You're not having high fat also, and you're also having high protein meal. And you can also, glam up your if you're having a fruit bowl, you can just glam up it up by adding some peanuts on top of it, or some almonds on top of it, or even I suggest my clients that you can add some feta cheese on top of it, or you can crumble some paneer or ricotta cheese on top of it. You can roll up a chapati with chickpea hummus or nut butter for a sweet twist. So these things will also enhance your taste palette. It will give you something different to eat than your regular routine. You'll not feel like you're into a diet, why roti sabzi, dal, the boring things. You can come up with something innovative. And for example, like people also are very fond of puran poli in Maharashtra. So instead of the coconut filling, you can substitute it with dal and jaggery mixed filling, or khoya and jaggery mixed filling, so that you can have some protein also over there, and not just high carbs and high sugars. So you can add protein through other sources. If you're having salad, so just grate some tofu into it, or just add some paneer into it. But add more and more protein sources in your regular meal options, which is very important for us.
Yes, correct, correct. But one question, I think I will ask you one question, and I think this is very common. It might come from other people as well. So we talked about a lot of options of how we can increase the amount of protein in a lunch and dinner, maybe a smoothies, etc. But on a regular or a very typical Indian diet, we are very used to having either parathas, and you can add your soy, etc. But at times we'll have like a cereal-based combination. We can have oats, or we can have we can have poha, we can have upma. So is there any swap that we can do? Is there any external source of protein that we can add in order to up intake, at least thoda to apna protein intake? We're able to add some amount of protein, maybe 7 to 8 grams or maybe 10 grams of protein from our breakfast, so that the other three meals along with the snack can take care of the remaining requirements of protein for the day.
Yeah, so what I like to do is that of course there are some things in which we can't change. Like in poha, of course, you can add some peanuts into it. It's not a lot of protein, but at least you're adding some kind of protein into it, and add other vegetables like peas also into it. And for example, if I'm having upma, I really like to add some chana dal into it. So there are ways in which you can sneakingly add. If someone is making dosa, so I suggest that there are common dishes also in South India, but people are only fond of say rice flour dosa. But you can mix it up with gram flour or the green gram flour, and there are other dishes there, pesta ratuena. So you can mix them up. You can mix it up. It will enhance the taste as well, and it really increases the taste point of view also. It gives you nutrition as well as taste.
We also have a lot of options, and I'm just giving an example. So if you talk about the seeds like chia or sabza, these also provide some good, like a tablespoon of these will give you like 6 to 7 grams of protein. So maybe you can have it on an empty stomach in the morning. You can just soak it overnight and have it empty stomach. Or there's something called as a oatmeal, not like a cheat oatmeal kind of a thing, where it is very low on carbs, but high on healthy fat, on fiber, on protein. So you can incorporate a lot of seeds, chia seeds, sabza, etc. You can add in, you can throw in some berries or some other fruits along with almond milk or a regular skim milk, etc. And it will give you like a oatmeal kind of a bowl, which again is very healthy. It is increasing the amount of protein as well. Now, so just so yes, we talked a lot about in terms of soy can be added, other lentils, etc. can be added. Similarly, protein chef again, because all of these that you're telling me, these are very great options, but they actually involve a lot of planning. They're involving a lot of
Yeah.
cooking, a lot of effort goes in terms of planning, realizing how much we have to do, not, and typically, with this kind of a lifestyle that we have, a lot of time people don't have that amount of time to put in the kind of efforts, even if they want to, right? So in such a scenario, that's why we've come up with this product, which will help you to meet that 23 grams of protein on a daily basis. So all you have to do is just, take your roti ka batter, or basically take the atta that you're making for roti, just add 1 spoon of your protein chef to it, knead it like a regular roti, and it will further, help you to improve the protein requirements on a daily basis. And the best part about the protein shake powder is that it does not change the taste. So you won't even realize at that time that you're eating anything extra that has been added to your protein. And again, as I was telling you, one very important factor that I want to, kind of outline here is that we are a protein blend. So we've got lentils, we've got pulses into it, we've got cereals. So it is a blend which contains all the essential and non-essential amino acids. It doesn't have any preservatives. So it is almost at par at what we consume, like it is almost at par. So we've done the formulations in such a way, so many reiterations to make it at par with the whey protein, but at the same time, it is very easy to digest. It doesn't cause any bloating, etc. Now, so I think we had a lot of questions from our, the people, but we've almost answered all the questions through our live session itself. And just wanted to tell our viewers as well that we have a contest in which we will actually ask you a question based upon what we talked today, and it will be posted on our story. So whosoever actually gives the correct answer will get a protein chef in order to proteinize their meals. Now, I just wanted to, we're almost at the end of the session. So any other final thoughts or any other suggestions or advice that you would like to give to our viewers or our audience?
Yes, so don't take your protein lightly. We think that it is okay. What is the big deal in that? Like you said in the beginning, protein is not just required for muscle building or body building, it is required for your daily processes. There is a reason that it is called a macronutrient. Your body needs it in macro quantities. So it is very important for your daily bodily processes. And it is even required to maintain your muscle mass. One question which I have gotten a lot from my clients every day, and I think you've also met that with that question: what is the way that you can increase your metabolism?
Correct.
So there is no food which can increase your metabolism. People think that if we'll have black tea or green tea or any such thing, we are increasing our metabolism, but there are no such foods as such. It is your muscle mass. If our diets are not sufficient in protein, our muscle mass will start declining with age because we're not able to meet our body's protein requirements. So our body will start breaking down our muscles to get those proteins if we are not giving it enough through the diet. So your body will start bringing down those muscles, but you're also spoiling your metabolism. So if you want to keep your metabolism, that is if you want to burn more calories while resting, you need a good muscle mass, which can only be done when you are consuming enough protein.
Yes, you're completely right that we actually have to make sure that we're eating the right amount of calories from protein. And you just talked about, you mentioned a very good word saying metabolism. It over a period of time, it will keep on, reducing. You will kind of jeopardize your metabolism,
Yes.
and this will actually make you vulnerable to a lot of medical conditions, a lot of degenerative diseases which happen over a period of time. Which also brings me that, we even when we are adults, when we are young, when we go to the gym or we're working out, or even regularly, we are at least concerned about a protein intake. But in the older ages, after 45 years, 50 years, people don't really kind of care about what amount they're consuming. And a lot of people who have to feed their elder ones, they're not even concerned कि वो कितना amount of protein खा रहे हैं. But that is extremely very important, because if you're not having the right amount of protein in your older ages, it can increase the damage by falls. It can there's really a lot of muscle mass loss, which is basically a sarcopenia. So a lot of things have to be taken care of. So in that case also, that is why our product is very It is something which can be incorporated for a child, anyone who is above 10 years of old till your older age. Anybody can actually incorporate this product in their daily lifestyle without having to cook too much, without having to plan too much, and still be able to meet their body requirements. And not just in your physical requirements, but your body requirements, because protein will help you in your metabolism. It will help you to take care of all your metabolic activities, your repair, and everything. Yeah. So yeah, so it was great having you, Pooja. That was a great session.
Same here.
Yes. And my favorite part was when you actually gave us so many insight and also a lot of ways in which we can incorporate protein in a very easy ways to your daily diet without having to, change your groceries or your kind of what you buy. Typically, it is not something where these are simple household ingredients which are present in all our daily households. So that was very informative. That was good.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so much.
much. It was lovely talking to you. It was a great topic to talk on. And I hope that people are getting these answers and they're actually understanding these points so they can actually start taking protein intake seriously.
Yes, and to all the viewers, if you have any further questions regarding protein consumption, how to increase the amount of protein in your vegetarian diet, you can just message us or you can DM us on Protein Chef, and I'll be there to answer all your questions. And this actually brings us to the end of the session, and we'll be back next week with some other protein related topic. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.